My name is Brian O'Mahony. I work for Sustainable Energy Ireland, and I'm sitting in for Owen Sweeney. He actually couldn't be here today, sends his apologies. Basically, I'm actually going to talk about what actually Owen and Pamela talked about a minute ago, is the opportunity in Ireland in the marine environment. And I was sitting there listening to it. There's a huge opportunity for ocean energy, wave, tidal and offshore wind. There's a lot of things that can be done, and a number of the things that Pamela mentioned about access to wind turbines, we see this every day with like the wave machine, because I suppose they're floating more than it's fixed. So I think there's great synergies between wind, wave and tidal, and probably some of the other technologies here today. Quickly, I'm just going to go through some of the resource, the technology, and then I suppose some of the opportunities or challenges that we have. So the resource, this is World Wide Wave Energy Resource Graph. And basically you can see up around Ireland it's red. Red is good. There's a lot of energy in the sea. Near Ireland in the UK, here's a graph from Crown Estates in the UK. It shows you Ireland and Scotland. And you can see the red again is great and the yellow is good as well. So we've a lot of resource near Ireland. It's on our doorstep. And basically they estimate that the accessible resource can be up to 20 terawatt hours per year from wave. For tidal, we're not as well endowed in tidal, but in this graph you can see up the top in the north, off Northern Ireland, red is good again, and there's a lot of tidal currents up there, and then the Irish Sea on the Arklow banks, etc. There are some localised ones in Shannon, Bullsmouth, Jersey Ireland, Gascoyne, etc. The accessible resource for this is estimated to be about 2.6 terawatt hours per year, so there is good resource there as well. One of the companies I'll talk about later is actually an Irish company, Open Hydro. Some of you may have heard of it. And they've developed the technology, and of course they've gone to where the best resource is. It's not in Ireland, it's outside of Ireland at the moment. Offshore wind, there's been a great opportunity here. Here's a graph from the All Ireland Grid Study. If you're more than 5 kilometres offshore, you could meet probably over 60% of our demand. And also the accessible resource could be up to 60 terawatt hours per year, depending upon, I suppose, technology considerations, etc. Okay, ocean energy, our programme and our strategy. So basically, ocean energy has been around probably since 1979, I think in Ireland, when the HMRC was started. But in the short, recent past, I think you have to go back to 2003, where there was a public consultation about what could be done or what the opportunity is here. And this was led from the Marine Institute with support from Sustainable Energy Ireland. Following that, in 2004, UCC were asked to actually establish the HMRC and actually strengthen it, because there was a wave tank there, but there wasn't, I suppose, an organised team down there, and both SEI and the Marine Institute supported that. Following that, in 2005, a strategy had to be developed about ocean energy and how we can capture it for Ireland. And that has started a wave atlas, which is needed to understand how much energy is in the Irish seas, both on the west and on the east. It was carried out by ESBI, and the Galway Bay test site was initiated. 2006 was a big year actually, because our first device was deployed on the site. A second one was deployed at Christmas that year as well, and basically the strategy was launched officially in 2007. The OED was announced at the end of the year. Parsons started up, and the targets for OE were increased, which I'll show now. Basically, this is the document of OE strategy. It's on our website if anybody's interested in looking at it. It's basically a phased approach to capturing the opportunities here for ocean energy, wave and tidal in Ireland. It started off with targets of 200 megawatt and 1,900 jobs, and this wasn't good enough for the politicians, so we went to 500 megawatts, which we can achieve with this strategy. And they set up the OEDU, who I work for with Owen, to actually implement this strategy. So the OEDU is actually a unit where we don't want to be standing alone in SEI. We actually want to get industry and all the agencies involved. And so to that end, what we do, we have a steering committee, and the steering committee is our parent department, which is the Department of Energy, Communications and Natural Resources, the Marine Institute, SEI, and now the Department of Environment sit together to make sure that we're going down the right road. But also, most importantly, is we have an advisory group. This advisory group has every department that deals with the marine environment sitting in it bi-monthly, and basically we have everybody from industry, MRIA, and some of the companies are members of that, We've now as well, with Department of Environment, Department of Energy, Department of Agriculture now, we have ESB Networks, Airgrid, CER, you can see them all up there. We've also got the IDA, SFI, Enterprise Ireland. So we all sit around the table to make sure that all of our plans are coordinated to support the strategy. And so that hopefully we'll deliver the 500 megawatts by 2020 and in 2030 and 2050 a much bigger prize. This is what we don't want to happen. This is a slide that we saw actually last year in the US. In the US, actually, they've got two bodies that are responsible for permitting in the water. So what we want to do is a one-stop shop. Somebody comes somewhere, it doesn't have to be the OED, it could be they go to Department of Environment and everything's taken care of. So somebody doesn't end up like the problem that Pamela mentioned. You have a grid connection, but you don't have a permit. You need to have both. To give you an idea of our roadmap, basically we have a roadmap to 2020 to meet the targets. This is only the start of the opportunity for Ireland. And what we have is basically, if you look at this, we have to support pilot projects, then we move on to full-scale demonstration, then we move on to small-scale arrays, and then we move on to large-scale arrays. So it's kind of baby steps. If we drill down and look at some of the issues in this, for 2009, this is what we're working on, and there's some very important things that are happening at the moment. So we got a temporary license for our test site in Belmullet, which we're developing. We started just recently, we published at the start of the month, a strategic environmental assessment for the marine environment, which will be wave, wind and tidal. And we're intensifying resource and site assessment, and we're doing that with industry, getting Irish companies and some foreign companies as well to develop their expertise in this area to support the industry going forward. The test site is in Belmullet to build that, so we're working on the plan at that at the moment. Funding Irish companies to develop technologies, both tidal and ocean energy devices. But also we look here, there's ITC competencies, there's control, there's software, grid integration. There's a lot more technology in Ireland rather than the device in the water that many people may have heard of. Everybody knows open hydro or wave bob if you're in the industry. But there's a lot of people in the background working on things, and that's what the industry fund is to support as well. All of the ancillary services that we can become world leaders on. Also, there's a test facility down in Cork called the HMRC, Hydraulic Maritime Research Centre in UCC, and we're enhancing that, and we're hoping to get funding to develop into a national ocean test facility to increase the wave basin in it. And then also for the engineering capabilities, it's very important, as Pam mentioned, you go out into the sea, you need a boat to do that, and you need a work vessel. To install some of these devices, like especially wind farms, if you're piling, you're probably talking €100,000 a day for a large workboat out there actually every day to install the equipment. That's very expensive, and very quickly, if the sea conditions aren't with you and the guys are sitting out there drinking tea or coffee, you're still going to have to pay that amount of money. So we want to assist and develop the engineering expertise in Ireland, not in Holland or in Scotland for the North Sea or in Norway. We want to do it for Ireland so that we're able to meet the demand for that. Basically, I decided there were a number of issues there, and I said, but we'll show you actually one of them. The FCA is actually a formal European process, and we started it earlier this year. It takes a while to get everything up and running, and basically we went for consultation out to the public very recently. It's on our website. We hope to complete this next year, and then what we're hoping is, with the advisory group, with industry on board, with the Department of Environment on board, that in 2011 we'll have a new revised permitting process, so people can go to the Department of Environment and actually apply for permits and have CER sitting at the table and air grids, so that the grid is ready for them as well in 2020 when they're actually developing large-scale arrays.